So welcome everyone to this month's Divaan Ishq session where we're having the honor of having Amina with us. And we're very happy to have someone wanting to join us in this space to share, because this is a space for female seekers looking to expand and grow and share knowledge and wisdom with one another. And obviously that is always enhanced when we have someone coming and sharing from their little piece of paradise, like you, Amina, before we started recording, you mentioned. So yeah, before we started recording, Alicia had the request that if, Amina, you would want to tell us a bit about yourself before we start the session of today.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Lisa. I am Amina, and I am hypnotherapist, counseling hypnotherapist, Reiki master, and rapid transformation therapy practitioner. Going to be a rapid transformation therapy therapist soon. So, yes, I mean, I live in Vancouver, Canada, and fascinating stories about mind always fascinates me since I was really a little kid, that how mind do wonders. But apart from that, the spiritual journey was also integral part of me when I understand that you cannot do things only with the mind, you cannot do things only with the body, you cannot do things when you don't understand what is the dynamic of all these three aspects. That's, when we really talk about mind, body, and soul, so there is much depth to it. And that led me to do more research or do more studies or just go into that depth. And there I met Alicia. So this is, and I am doing that. I'm practicing, working in the area of traumas. And I believe that once we are ready to heal ourselves, we have to unblock all those conditioning or traumas that we have to meet ourselves, that who we are, and that connects us to our true nature. So this is what I do in my practice. I work from anxiety to finding the life purpose and soul purpose. So these are all those areas where I love to work. And when I see the, you know, overall journey of people who come and work with me, it's so fascinating, because in the end, they just feel that, oh, it's feel freeing. And that's what I think that my soul purpose is.
How did you yourself get started onto this specific path?
Oh, it's a long story. It was in my, okay, so the meditation was a very much part of my daily routine, because I belong to the Sufi sect as well. So the meditation at 4 to 5 a.m. in the morning, we just saw happening in our home because my parents were getting up, and that actually led us to do the same. But it did not, click, because of course you are just doing it because your parents are doing it. So in my late teens, I had an experience where I saw a glimpse of me in a different dimension, I would say. And that actually, kicked in that. So that was not a dream. That was not something that I know. It's not an imagination, what it is, because it felt so real. And that was the first time I looked into that who am I? you know? And what was that? And that confusion led me to look for the spiritual teacher. And formally, I got trained in the hypnotherapy. That was my first hypnotherapy session with my teacher, my first teacher. And that was the beginning in my late teens. And then I got so fascinated with the results that, oh, wow, I mean, I did not know my mind has so much information to tell me, but how to connect with the mind. surpassing your analytical or logical mind. So that helped me. That was my beginning, very early beginning. And once I dive into that, then one after another, aspect of mind and why it's happening. But, into so I was already doing the meditation part that led me to that opening, but I did not know that how it began. So first I dive into that mind aspect of it, and then later I dive into the spiritual aspect of it. That how important it is to integrate both and understand. And then when we talk about that, quieting or stillness, you do understand that why it is important to connect with yourself or your higher self or the divine power to feel that stillness.
Now, I think it's always interesting to connect the dots. And our connection happened in Saudi Arabia, correct? So I'd love to hear your impression before we delve into the poetic sort of and mind and the work that you do, and just kind of get that insight from you. But I'd love to get your impression.
Yeah.
Remind me of,
Okay, yeah, of course. So, okay, I was always a rebel. Okay, and I had a very clear point of view.
well, like
So,
us. Yeah.
absolutely. That's why we are
Majority of
sitting
us.
together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a different point of view, and according to the experiences, right? And I believe in that. So, I'm a believer. So, when I was in Saudi, there was a lot of pressure to be like them, so we will accept you. And that was something that was not very much, it was not my vibration. So, yes, I was totally alone in that part when we look into the social connection. No, and somehow I got connected to Alicia through the Facebook page because I was looking that somebody like me, I mean, I wanted to talk what is there and, all this consciousness and, that aspect of it. But I was just finding so many people who were not, talking what I was looking for that true connection. So, anyways, when I see that healers in Saudi Arabia, I was like, wow, Saudi Arabia do have healers? Okay, so I messaged Alicia, and then somehow we talk, and then we talk on phone, and then we did not click because I did not know how. The first connection is always like that. You have to tell that what you do, and I was just like, what I do, you know, and it was not that clicking thing. It was always that I told you that I was not into that spiritual aspect of it, to that how to, I was not paying attention. It was there, but I was not paying attention to it. So I was just talking about the mind thing because that was my superpower at that time. And that's it. We are done. I think that, I was just telling that, oh, this I know and that I know and that's, and the information was there, the knowledge was there, but the connection was not there because we are a spiritual being and we have to take out that layer and be who you are, And then once Alicia was going, and then that's it. We did not talk then and this and that. And then Alicia was going to the Prophet's Mosque, and there,
Okay.
there she, yeah, there, she actually, I think you thought about me, or you had some vision about me, and then you wrote, Min kuntum mala, right, Alicia?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I missed.
Yeah, so we were actually after we had a conversation on phone, and then I was just sitting randomly in the evening, and I received a message from Alicia, Min kuntu mala. And then I answered that, and then I was just like, you know, why she's sending me this? And that was something that I was strongly believe into, and she just sent me that, and I was like, okay. And then you said, I was going, and I don't know why I thought of you, you know, and you just came into my mind that I should message you this, and that was a strong message of connection, at least for me and her. And that was the bonding. It was the starting that we are actually on same page. What I was looking was there. Okay. And then she, you know, then again, the divine source made her, you know, find that particular belief that I do have, because she is also believing on the same lines. And that was our connection. And since then, I mean, I call her soul sister, because though we are in the similar lines, okay, never felt insecure about anything that we both are doing in so many ways similar. So it's not a competition, it's not that insecurity, it's about the team, you know, that, oh wow. And whenever I talk to her, and I feel the same acceptance, and I feel that joy of, you know, that okay, we are. And then the connection, of course, was way more stronger with our individual you know, journeys, and when we came together. So she openly accepted connection with me, because I was like, I told you I was a rebel, and there nobody was accepting, and she was like, and then everybody just came, you know, because I remember Alicia saying me, I said, how do you know? How you connected to me like this? And everybody is, you know, there are so many people who just think that I am different in so many ways. And she said, I see you. Okay. And that was like, oh, okay. I used to wear dresses. I'm still wearing dresses. You know, living in Saudi Arabia, you are like, you know, I just wanted to wear these colorful abayas at that time. And I used to, you know, have piercing, and I have a tattoo. I am like that. Okay. And that was something I really cherish, and it's very close to my heart, that I do have a lot of connections, but that connection is so special to me, and we shared a lot. I mean, it's on the personal level, wherever I go, and there is some connection. You know, I was in the mom, I guess, and then, you know, it's about your sister there. So, you know, it just made that it was happening. I was not doing anything. It just happened, and I was accepting it. So the flow, I mean, in every area, I believe that when you are in flow, the genuine connections come to you. You don't have to work hard towards it.
Honored. Thank you for the reminders, because I seem to sometimes forget the little, you know, the little things. And but you know, you mentioned, I asked you that on the text, but for the record, because we're, you know, recording this, what's the answer?
So Bin Kuntum Mala was something that was always, uh, you know, it was close to my heart, you know. And once I was into, you know, understanding of, I was into, not into that understanding level where you know, so something going on in my head. And it was fascinating when someone tells you that it is in your thoughts. And I was watching a TV at that time in the evening, and then I received a message, and that was, it just hit my heart at that time, because I was not expecting that, you know, who, I mean, how she knows it, that this is something that I believe in deeply, because that Ali thing was my belief. That was something uh, I always knew, that that the strong connection and the strong power, and I always used to say Ya Ali Mabat, and that powerful you know it was just something that the God is speaking to you, that this is a person that you are looking for, and you are finding everywhere, and here she is, who's talking your language that you believe in deeply. And that was the first thing that, when I say Fahaza Aliul Mala, and then I needed to give that explanation, because that was my feeling at that time, that how she, and imagine in Saudi Arabia, nobody was talking like that about Ali, you know? So that was the part that I feel that it's a heart. They had two parts, and that connected on that lines and note. So that's how we are, and I think that's the spiritual true connection. That's why we are still connected. We don't talk too much all the time, but we are always there. We are always there. I see her all the time, she sees me, and then we have the visions as well. She most of the time write it down, that I had this vision and I had that vision, and similarly on my note as well. So the connection is there, that deeper spiritual connection which we made, and we are still stick to it, because we are both going in the direction of that the sole purpose, that why we are here in this world. And that is the strongest thing that we are both following, that following our heart. She was doing something that was extraordinary in that region, and she was my connection over there. And then she told me that your work is done here, now you have to go to somewhere else. And it happens. It just happened. I mean, without taking too much effort or anything, it happened in a flow. And then I landed up in Vancouver, where I believe that vibrations are already so high, and people like me are just cherish that small mindful stuff that is happening. And that is the again, the motivation to connect to the higher self and higher part. People come for their healing, and they do had that strong push, because you see the kudra everywhere, the nature, the connection.
Wonderful. And we can now, enter into the meat. This is a beautiful sort of in context human connection, soul connection sort of thing that I'm glad we have the opportunity to be able to share that with our audience and later those who watch. And just to give a brief, what we do is, because poetry is something that I've been doing for quite some time, it's just a very natural sort of expression. And at the same time, it's also a means for self-healing, and also a tool for healing. It's a modality. And many a times healing is underrated, and it's not perceived as poetry, sorry, is underrated, and it's not perceived as an actual tool to heal. So
Of course.
there's research on poetic therapy, and the effect we know through mind science is the effect of words, thoughts, feelings, how reality is created, how we can heal, in the stuff that you do, NLP, hypnosis, transformational healing, and all that sort of field. So what we would like to do for the seekers in our Divaan is to be able to hear from you as an expert in your field and practitioner on how this modality, because we all know, and that's why we're here, and that's why we gather, and that's why we have this space where we can, have a safe space
We hold space for one another to express without judgment. And we're just, observers, and we're also documenting our states, our spiritual states, emotional states. And nobody has an issue with that. You can literally be unmasked fully in our space within, our circle of females, and express, and you will find more and more openings because the chakras are being opened. There's a lot of trauma healing going on, inner child healing, because people are unearthing things that have happened in the past, or things, whatever, on different levels. So we would love to hear from you, Amina. Basically, what you would say about this modality of healing, poetry as a mode of healing, and how powerful that is.
Yeah, of course. So when I was learning my hypnotherapy, and of course NLP, so the words we speak and the pictures we make creates our reality. So, when we are in a flow, most of the time the words come to us, and that's the inner self that is communicating with us. And if we are in that, in that flow and getting that things out, so this is one way of taking, what's inside you hidden. And when we talk about trauma comes in layers. Similarly, healing also comes in layers. So when you were saying about the poetry, it's something that is so divine and rhythmic, When we breathe, it's rhythmic. It's in the waves, right? Similarly, when we are in a flow of that state, when we are going up and, peaks and down hills. So these are the natural state. And then again, the divine way of communication was the poetic. So there is this level of that, we don't need any background into any other things. But when we connect to that, it was so poetic when the Quran has these, beautiful sound and words, and people just love to listen to it. So, I mean, I personally feel that words and they play the most important part. It's the way of taking out from within that, what is hidden. And you cannot do poetry when you are in stress, or, that relaxed state when the word flows is the most healing state, because that's the most creative state. And that's the aim, is that we have to reach to that place. From there, the connection happen, and, we are healing with whatever is inside us. And the expression, the expression is very important for any emotions as well. So when we see somebody who does not have any emotion on the face, we don't know about that person, what that person is thinking. And healthy emotion regulation is so important when we talk about healing, and when we talk about any modality. That this is something that we have to pay attention, that this expression should be expressed. And healing regulation of emotion we learn very early when we are in the family, when people are, around us, especially our parents or caregivers. If they are not having that healthy example for us, we don't know how to healthily do that when we grow up, even as a children. And that anxiety and all these things kicks in because we don't know how to handle that. So, of course, when you talk about that flow, that poetic flow is all about the state of stillness, where you are getting all the words coming up for you that needed that attention. So the initial state would be definitely the triggers that leads us. And when we go into that, following that triggers, we find that root cause of it. And once we are able to understand the root cause, because understanding is power, it's a superpower when we understand something. So for anything that should be creative, first we have to unblock those old things that is blocking our creativity. And words, when we are speaking words, we give affirmation all the time, that I am peaceful, I am connected to the divine source. And that's mean we are reprogramming our mind with those words. The repetition is the key. That repetition makes us learn new things. So poetry has words. If we choose some powerful, positive words, to express ourselves again, that helps us to heal, because your mind doesn't care who is telling it to you, yourself or somebody else. But if you are telling, it's a way of communication to your subconscious mind that, what it is.
And in the case of holding in emotions, not having an outlet, what happens basically to that body, which is really holding on to emotions for years and years?
So I had a case, I had somebody, mostly there is, so when we are blocked our emotions, first we are feeling that frustration. If we still don't pay attention to it, then we see that physically happening in our body. So latest, I had somebody with a cancer, okay? And when I was working with her, there was so much regret, shame. And again, it's not that that person created that. So when we are born, we are like a clean slate. We don't have anything. So after 2 years, what happens that there's something happening in the brain all the time. We are learning, we are growing, and that conditioning even when a person is the baby and the dad and mom are busy, they are not meaning anything ill, but they are not there for a kid. They are the child is crying, but there is nobody who can take care of it just because the mom is busy in the kitchen, or maybe the dad is not at home. The child does not understand the explanation that my mom is busy. Okay? And what's the belief that child get is I don't matter. Okay, and then that is the primary thing. And then on secondary, I have to do everything to get their attention. So maybe our mind is basically bringing up all those things that we call secondary gain, that, it's not good in the long run. Let's say addiction of something, it just give you pleasure for a very limited time. And your mind is only looking for that escape and run, because you don't know how to regulate your emotions, and you don't know how to express your emotions, because you have always been suppressed your emotions. So it didn't happen overnight. It happened with the conditioning when you are a child. And I have seen few people who, I would say few people are aware of their traumas, that, when things are repeating, they know they need help. Because it's coming and it's just taking everything, no matter how materialistically we go. So this lady was very, she just told me, in fact, she passed in July. So she told me that, oh, I worked so hard for whatever I got, but when I didn't have time to enjoy it. So another lesson, that living in present moment are so crucial and important. We don't know when we will not have time. So when we are putting everything in our body, when we are not, so when we are children, we don't have any choice. Okay, we don't understand. We have to attach to our caregivers or the environment, because we are not powerful enough to live independently, right? But when we grow up and we indulge into those activities, which is again lethal, that can be anything. It's not necessary that you are on drugs and that is an addiction. Food can be an addiction. Anything else that you think that it's giving you pleasure for a very little time. Even I have seen the spiritual addiction as well, that people are not understanding and integrating those part of it, rather having retreats and thinking that, oh, I'm going on a spiritual retreat. It's again that not having that content feeling, that if we get something, we should enjoy it, because yes, the divine has given us something. We should be in a present, observe what it is. It's all about learning through experiencing. That's why we are here. As a soul, we know that when we made the soul contract to come here, we know so many things, but experiencing all those emotions up and down and coming out of it is basically the task. And I believe that we all have this task, that if we overcome our traumas, we are on that level where we are connected to the divine, because now you are the authentic self. The way you were born, the divine actually wanted you in this world. And those experiences with the emotions and all the suffering, it's your choice when we talk about that. So we have to take it. This is my experience, what I have learned out of it, and what is my next thing that I will be able to do it with that experience, right? And then we have this way to go forward. But healing means connecting to yourself, no matter how you do it. In this process, you do need help, because if you are able to do it, you will be doing it. Then you are not feeling that frustration, right? I have seen physically ill things. That's now even the research has shown that all autoimmune disease does not have any physical reason to have it. It's all emotional, right? Cancer, the breast cancer is so common in women, and most research shows that it's because you are suppressing so much of your emotions, and you are feeling helpless, and you are actually taking. So emotions are energy, right? It needs to move. And if it's not moving, you are suppressing it. So it has to do something there, and if we don't acknowledge it, so that's mean it will be doing something bigger and bigger to get that acknowledgement. And that's the way our subconscious is communicating, whether it's a small thing that is happening to our body or it's something bigger, that pay attention. You have ignored me. So the body has a way, it just stores memory. So once you learn driving, you don't forget it, because the muscle memory is there, right? So we have to understand that there is a strong connection with mind and body when we talk about emotions, when we talk about conditioning, when we talk about traumas. Our body is taking everything, and once it's breakdown, it's done. So integration, healthy emotion, regulating of your nervous system, breathing, meditating, flowing with whatever therapy you choose is very, very important to live the healthy life.
So you mentioned quite a lot about the childhood being, a big part of why people are conditioned a certain way. And I'm thinking, because obviously we all had a childhood of some sort, and we couldn't maybe influence it in major ways, like you said, but still through, you talk about expressing and allowing things to come forth that are needing attention, we can balance these things. And you mentioned a few of the techniques that one can use. So does there come a point in your experience when one is sort of have reached that level of just being one with oneself, or not having major traumas to release? Or is this an ongoing process that one has to all the time, empty out what happens?
Yes, of course. I mean, I would say that biggest example, I would say myself. Okay. So there was a lot of childhood traumas with me. I was adopted by my aunt. My biological family was there, and I always knew that they are there. And as a child, I always wanted to connect to. So, you wanted that connection. So I know that this is my family, they are my siblings. When I go, they reject me. And now I do understand their back of head, the emotions and their conditioning, because I was not living with them. I was a competition for them, right? So I suffered that, and the extremely emotionally immature parents who don't understand and see that, she's my daughter as well, but she's getting bullied just because she is living there, and that was not my choice to live. They gave it to my aunt, and whatever the reason the adult had. As a child, I did not understand anything. So what was my belief? I am not important, I am different. And with that, for a child, it was too much. So, if you look into the kindergartners, one child says, I like blue color. Then the circle says, I like also blue. I like also blue. And somebody says, if I like pink, then, oh, you're not our friend, right? So for a child, being different it's a lot of trauma attached to it, that you're not one of us, sorry. And we are here for the connection, right? The human mind always look for connection and avoid rejection. So even any kind of fear that we have, it's because the root belief is always the fear of rejection. So I grew up with this. Then I don't know how I end up into that, solace in meditations, because I started very early. I know the concept of it is happening. And I just, from a very early age, it just gave me a satisfaction knowing, not that was not my level of understanding though, but it was just giving me some kind of relief that, okay, and I used to talk in that state because I did not have anybody to talk to. Okay. And that led me to other aspect of what I have. So for the longest period, when I grew up, I did not even know that I have any trauma, because on the surface, I was living with my aunt, okay? And she loved me so much. So when people say and see, even my sisters, oh, you had the best childhood. And I used to say, I had the best childhood. But when I grew up, when the healing starts, this dissociation was the pain. How my body was not, it wanted to look into that part where I was rejected. So there was another level of it. So the first part, when there was so much pain, my mind gave me a glimpse to go into that. That was somehow I connected to my inner self. Then there was understanding of loss of connections, and then I had to connect to that things. So it's an ongoing process, but we do have to remove those blocks that is actually that is basically impairing our ability to heal ourselves.
What happens, Amina, is that typically people perceive poetry and expressing it when you're in extreme states of emotional experiences, right? So you're either on a high or on a very low, and then you're putting that out. But what we're encouraging here is that everything in between those things, right, are the subtle sort of states, right? They don't have to have a very concentrated they don't have to be very concentrated technically. So it's the subtle states. And then you mentioned about just being present. So to even know your subtle states, because it's easy to know when you're angry or you're like hurt or you're extremely happy, overjoyed, whatever. But then the subtle states that are usually a day-to-day thing, moment-to-moment thing, that's the thing that we in our space are trying to kind of say that, you know, we don't have to focus only on these peaks, but also the subtle. And then when we're aware of the subtle, we're actually aware of what is going on moment to moment. And to be aware, that means you have to be really present with yourself. So what I'm trying to ask you is, do you have to, because being present itself is something that takes time, right? Being in that state of presence. Does the brain have to be in a certain state, like frequency, in order to be still and then know what you're experiencing? Or can one always be in a certain wavelength in order to know what's going on all the time?
So, you know, first thing is that I always say that to people that waking up and sleeping times are very, very important and crucial, because when we are going to bed, okay, we have to leave our all activities. And that time is the present moment where you are paying attention to your breathing, to the state where you are, the day you have spent, okay, and then saying that goodbye. So these are the small things which we can do to be present in the moment. We cannot go with the phone to our bed and sleeping while we are, oh, okay, now I'm feeling. No, you know, and what you are basically, you are not using that beneficial brain waves time when we are in first alpha just before sleep. That is the most creative and relaxed state. So, and when we wake up, so the discipline should be always there when, you know, the sleeping time and waking up time, because no matter what time you sleep, you are always waking up at the same time, the regular time, you know. So the discipline of being in that moment and benefiting from those energy, which is the natural state, I call it the magical frequency, that is alpha and theta. Okay, so when we are in that mindful state where the small things are not living or sleeping or waking up with your phone, you know. So when we are sleeping without phone, we have that time to have that present moment with ourselves before sleeping, and we are actually kicking in all those things while we are sleeping, and our subconscious mind is doing its work. When we wake up, if I don't touch my phone and I just have to take, you know, get up, little bit of stress, and I usually go out in my patio and see the birds, the trees, and just sit there for an hour, do nothing, you know. And that's why I believe that that is my power, power time of present moment. That my daughter just say that you don't work, you just sit here, you know. So for their, you know, their idea of work is that, okay, that means I have to sit in front of my computer and do the work. But it is very important for me to be in that state. And when I am observing, I don't have any distractions. Okay. So I know that how this finch is flying, what is their quality? This is the present moment, which I experience in that moment of stillness. When I am still, I am observing. My mind is only observing the nature around me. And I am reaching the state of alpha. So that is the most creative brain waves. We all have this ability to go there. That is just, when we are uh, not in the that logical or analytical mind state, where this is the day-to-day thing when we are working, when we are doing, but the small moment when we are just sitting and breathing, that will just take, I think, three breaths, and I usually give it to my client. That is called 4-7-8. So when you are breathing in, you are counting 4, then hold, you are counting 7, and then when you're exhaling, counting 8. So this is one of the best way to center yourself again. If you are just doing and doing so many things and you are feeling that, oh, it's just, too much on my head, these 3 breaths will give you the center, and you are going into that, lowering down your frequency, because you are paying attention to that subtleness.
We have a question here. Louisa, do you want to read that from Madiha?
Madiha had a question, just a second. Yeah, Madiha is asking, what might be the underlying reason for fear of death and how can we overcome it?
So usually the fear of death is, again, so the simple rule of mind, that our mind working everything to keep us safe as long as it can. Okay? So when we have this slight idea of that we will be done and finished, the mind start creating all kind of, anxious thing, that no, and then you die and you think about all the negative belief that we have about the death, it will just kicks in. So again, how we grew up, what we have heard about the death all the time, you know why it feels so scary, it's all about that how we have listened and made the belief about the death. So for this simple thing, if I don't go into that, I don't want to talk about death, because if somebody has fear of death, so I will look into the condition of safety. Safety means not like that getting an abuse, or the belief surrounding the death in the family and what the kid heard about it and how it made them feel unsafe, to even think. And usually I grew up in the similar kind of, environment where you cannot talk about death. It always feel that it's scary. And it's like, kids don't ask questions. So if kids ask question and we answer them, right now my daughter who is 8 years old, she knows that we go to Allah. And why we go to Allah? Before coming to your tummy, I was with Allah. So this understanding with that little kids, when we talk to them, we are able to, find that understanding that from where it came. And then how you can overcome it. Definitely you have to, I have to look that where is the place that this root cause is. Once you are able, and then like Alicia said as well, if you usually these things need some kind of therapy to get remove and install new belief, and then you can be on your own. But definitely making your mind understand that now you're an adult, you know that what that death means to you. And if it's just scaring you still, then definitely I will suggest you to take some kind of support in this area. And especially if it's impairing your day-to-day life.
We have a question. Thank you, Amina, for that. I'd love to hear more later about how, people can connect to you as well afterwards. Just trying to keep within the time frames. We have a question from Noor, and that is, How do I remove blockages? I mean, just in a little nutshell, I guess.
So Alicia mentioned about that, poetry, and I also learned that in my whole practice. I mean, 20 years I'm doing that. So words are very, very important, you know. So the way we are speaking to ourselves. So this is the biggest blockage, that how we are addressing to ourselves. I can't do it. I can do it. It's difficult, you know. So if you pay attention to your language, you will definitely figure it out. So what makes things difficult is how we perceive it as. If we change our perception, it will be not as scary as it seems like. So the first step is always whatever gives you that aspect of inner flow, whether it's a poetry, whether it's a yoga, whether it's a breathing, just try to connect to yourself and be conscious about how you are speaking to yourself. Usually when we have all those aspects, I see a very we can have a confidence to do that, but still we can have a very low self-esteem. And that is, again, when I look into the deeper aspect of it, it's the conditioning. Self-esteem is just that how we see ourselves, not the world sees us, we ourselves sees us. And where is our worth? What is our worth? And unfortunately, when we talk about that, the cultural pressure and how we grew up, it's that for our women, it's always like they are lesser. So when we talk about blockages, I always suggest that look at how you see yourself. Once you understand that place, it will be easier to remove. And there are so many other things that you can do. Affirmations. Your mind only learns through repetitions. So when you are saying certain things again and again, again and again, your mind actually acknowledges, but it will take little time because you already have certain beliefs. So first, acceptance that I have this, okay, awareness, and then change it. In the beginning, it will feel that it's not true. Again, your mind will try to stop you. No, because it's not matching with the rule book it already had, right? So we have to actually surpass that. So we have to make our mind full, where we are imposing it, whatever we want in our life. And the poetry is the best way. Journaling is one of the best way too. When we give this kind of suggestion, where you can work on yourself while writing whatever is coming, you are expressing, and you will definitely know that where you have to go and what are those phrases that you have to repeat, and you will also be aware that how you are addressing yourself.
So this, to some degree, I think leads us into, I mean, what we are doing in the Divaan, this space, not only during the meetings, but also in between. We have this group where one can express freely, and I think that's as per the instructions of our master poetess Alicia, just to express fully without judging yourself. And obviously that also, I mean, spills over to not judging one another, but I think even primarily just allowing whatever is inside to come out. And that is very difficult at times. It's challenging. Like you mentioned, that
All
state
the
of being, yeah.
time. All the time it is difficult. And I would like to share that I had always, okay, so when I talk about, expressing and how we see ourselves, that self-love, people usually think that self-love is indulge into the spas and manicure, pedicure, all this. But self-care is much more deeper, and self-love comes when we care to ourselves. So I was always concerned. I worked in the spiritual thing. I work in the mind aspect, but my body, it was the last one for me. So I always strive that, oh, I have to lose weight, always lose weight and fit into that. It's a normal day thing for every woman, right? And at one point I was feeling, okay, why? I mean, okay, why I'm doing all this thing? Because when I look in myself in the mirror, I did not like myself. Though everybody says, oh, you look so pretty. You don't look like you are 45 and all this, okay? So I was like, why I don't like myself? And when I go into that deeper place, the disconnection happened when I was given for adoption when I was only 6 months old. And the moment I was born, my parents were expecting a boy because I was the third child and we had two sisters. I had two sisters older than me. Nobody expressed that. I never grew up with this belief that you were not wanted and we wanted a boy. Nobody said that. Nobody. But when I retrieve those feelings, because children just know about the feelings, and we are the best, mimics when we understand that how our parents are talking to us when they are making faces, and if you don't give any. So these are the also research that is available that children do understand everything since the day they are born. And it was fascinating fact for me when I retrieved that when I was born, my mom was not happy. So the disconnection happened that I'm a girl and I'm not wanted. So that's mean my body, if it's a boy body, I would have been get that love from my mother. So that disconnection from that part happened so early, but we are not aware of it. So the and then I was trying my level best. I hated my body just because I was a woman, okay? Because my mother did not accepted me as a girl. And then the series of the primal wound was adoption, because if you are not important, you have been given away, right? And then I find it um, in my journey that process of connecting to my body first needed that awareness that when it happened, I'm eating healthy. I am very active in my body. I would say that I'm XL size and I am still very healthy. My doctor reports are just like so perfect. Everything, blood counts and this. Why I'm so unhappy with myself? The way the standard of the world are. So I was judging myself on that level that I was not enjoying myself, my body. And I'm not saying, just go naked so you can say that I love my body. No, the thing is that the deep connection with the body where you are praising your body, you are thankful that you are moving, you are having that ability to do day-to-day tasks. This is something that we accept, what we have. And that's the second level is I now don't see when I look at the same body, right? Now I myself, when I look in the mirror, I just say, what is wrong? There is nothing wrong. I'm so fine. I'm so good. And that gives me another level of confidence to yourself. Once my friend was saying, oh, look at you. So she was showing me the picture of, I think, 25 years ago. Look at yourself. You look so good. I said, no, I look good now too. I was just so, admitting on that no, okay, so you have to dye your hair initially. Now everybody praised my hair. So when I started with the journey of going gray, it was like, no, what people will say, you are older than your husband and this and that, he will leave you. All the insecurities of a woman. And I was like that, oh, my relation is not depending on my hair, come on. But it's, if he don't like it, it's okay for him. But he always supported me in my journey, whatever I took. So why was the decision that I don't wanted to use the chemical? Because it's again the gesture of self-love. So it's not just that I want to go, size whatever, but I have to take care that what I'm putting in my body. And similarly, those things are all coming together when my thoughts should be on that level as well, when I'm not thinking and bashing myself. So yes, so but it has to be addressed, because again, I would say that, when we talk to ourselves, we judge ourselves so much. There is so much shame, so much, and that shame has to be addressed. It comes so early, and we are not even aware of it when, when the teacher said, you can't do it, you don't know how to spell that three-letter word, or are you a duffer? You don't get it. So these are all the aspects when we grow up as a little child we bear.
I want to just say, high five to the, your whole gray journey, because that's very encouraging. I find it very inspiring. So that's one thing. The other thing is that about the other thing is that we want to ask you for a prompt, because what we do is in our monthly lives, we do a penning exercise, and again, it's on the spot, spontaneous, and we'd like you to guide us as a guide, and our guide here basically to give us something that you'd like us to write about. And we want to encourage, of course, the rawness in writing, because as we just said a little bit earlier, there's so many modalities of healing and dealing with your emotions. But basically what happens is, the difference, I would honestly say, and I would challenge, is that, okay, in yoga, you can adopt silence and you have movements, and yes, you can be dealing silently with your own emotions. But when you take that step to pay attention to what you're feeling, put it out on paper, that's one thing. There's a lot of people with, the little black diaries, the little love poems and whatever they have going on. But then there's another level of vulnerability for that poet who goes open, who's like,
Yes.
my heart is a book for the world to see. And you're going to be judged. There's going to be all sorts of assumptions, and people might think you have mental illness, you name it. So basically, I think that requires a lot of bravery, because you can go out telling, your story to people on TEDx and whatnot, whatever. But it's another thing when you're like expressing your emotion, because that's like the most intimate part of you. And in the journey of healing, when you can actually start seeing your emotions out on paper, that itself is that's very powerful. And being addicted to therapy and therapists, the greatest therapist is you ultimately, but we're not going to discount ever the fact that we need to exist in this world by seeking, that kind of therapy through people with specialties and specializations and all that. That's why we have you here, and we're very grateful for that. But it's a brave act to actually put your stuff out, and ultimately, I think the effect of that is we get to see our emotions, and those emotions come forth in the 3D realm. And then when we do that in the process of manifestation, there's so much that can come forth through that.
Yes, absolutely. Because when I do my therapy, so it is basically a regression therapy. So coming to the alpha state or a hypnotic state, and there you are communicating. So this is the similar way that you are saying to reach that level, and then when you are taking this out is something, yes, I mean, it just gives you the guidance that what it is that's blocking you. So this is a similar path that definitely, what I do in my therapy. And then, yes, believing if you want to manifest anything. So when you have a to-do list or a wish list, okay, when you're writing all those things, that means you are already commanding your mind that I want this to happen in my life, okay? And reading out all those things aloud, that means you're affirming that I want this thing in my life, okay? And then I'm giving you the secret. Then you just still and listen to the voice that is coming. No, you can't have it. It's so expensive. Oh, you can't go. Who will pay the ticket? It's so expensive for that. That's mean that you have to change that belief which is coming in that voice to you. Initially, it will be a very strong voice. You can't. Okay. But if you are persistent about it, I am, so usually what I do, I am leaving it to the universe or the divine. It will make it happen. So that means you are giving this belief, the bigger belief, that something is more powerful than you is coming. Okay? That is the active way of negotiating with your mind if you want something. And that's how you are able to stick to that, and then you are there. So the repetition, don't forget that, affirming, don't forget that. And you will notice, of course, it will not happen overnight. You will notice that voice is getting slower, 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 slower. And that at one point it will vanish. Nobody knows. I mean, when I came here, I wanted to join, Marasa pair. Very expensive. I did not know, but I just wrote it down that I will attend Marissa Pear's live. I don't know when, but I will. And I'm attending that in October. Okay. I made it because I believe in that, okay, I can. Then I wanted to have a house. I made it. So these are all the lists I have in my diary somewhere. And I believe that, and then we do check. So I teach that to my kids as well. They just come up with that. I want this, I want that. I said, okay, put it in a list on the fridge. Okay. So whenever you manifest something, just tick it. But for that, what happens? They believe in that because in the past also they have manifested. So I can buy them whatever they want, right? But I want them to believe in themselves that they have the ability to manifest whatever they want. It is possible. But the basic block or basic, the milestone is that you have to believe what you are asking. If not, stay there, be there with that firm, conviction that I'm going to get it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that insight, all your insights. We would love to go on to the prompt so that we can
Okay.
do that next 10 minutes and then close off.
So I will just, hypnotize you all.
Sure.
And then you are at that state where you are able to write. So I'm not going to say after that, you will be in that state, okay, where whatever comes to you, I'll be just guiding you that whatever comes to you, believe and trust on that, okay? And you are writing it, right? All of you are writing it. Are you writing anything, or I just have to do the hypnotherapy? Hypnosis.
We'd like you to put a prompt based on whatever you're intuitively feeling, and direct us to a writing that we would take approximately 7 minutes to
Okay,
do.
I think it's okay.
And whatever you're feeling, you'd like us to, whatever you're getting basically, because you're an intute and I know that.
Okay, so I will just guide you towards the creative state of opening that flow, whatever is there, and that will help you to connect to that place where we might open that thing that is there. I don't know. I just feel like that, to open the creative flow. Okay, so we can start right now. And everybody take this relaxing position and just follow. So this is a different way I am doing of hypnotherapy, where you have to look up into your eyebrows. Look high as you possibly can, keeping your eyeballs up, and breathe in and exhale. Take another deep breath, keeping your eyeballs up, and exhale now. And one final time, keeping your eyeballs up. This time when you exhale, bring your eyelids down, all the way down as your eyes shut down. All the muscles in and around your eyes are becoming heavy, droopy, drowsy. And you already feel your eyes has been glued shut, sealed shut, locked together. Now forget all about your eyes and allow that drifting, floating feeling to develop in your body. In a moment, I'm just going to count from 10 to 1, and you're seeing a staircase in your mind's eye, a beautiful staircase where you feel safe, where you can see your steps, where you can feel the sensation. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to bring your chin a fraction down so you can have the same looking down sensation as you look over the balcony. 10 step descending. You are stepping onto step 10. Every muscle, every nerve turns loose, lets loose, and you go deeper. You are stepping onto step 9. You can see your feet treading each step, and you go deeper. You are stepping onto step 8. You can hear your feet treading each step, and you go deeper. You are stepping onto step 7. Every muscle, every nerve turns loose and lets loose. You are stepping on to step 6, going deeper and deeper. You are treading on to step 5, already halfway down, going deeper. You're stepping onto step 4. Deeper simply means the deeper awareness of yourself. You are stepping onto step 3, going deep, deep, further deep. You are going on to step 2, going deeper, and finally you are taking step 1, go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper. Every time I click my finger and say the word go deeper, sink deeper, drift deeper, you're going deeper, deeper, and deeper. And at this point, you simply understand that how wonderful you're feeling. Breathing is so relaxed than the few moments ago when we started. And that is the connection to your creative flow. This is the state. It's a natural state of being, connecting to yourself. And whatever comes, that is the most important thing to you at this moment. You have to be just relaxing in this place. This state is the most relaxed state. You are feeling that relaxation right now. You're feeling that creative flow right now. Our mind is an extraordinary and fascinating in this regard. When we make our mind our best friend, it is the best friend where it suggests you what you wanted, because our mind always does what it thinks you want it to do. and you definitely wanted to feel that healing, to feel that flow where you can express whatever comes to your heart. You can express with love and compassion towards yourself, because yes, you are the special, unique, spiritual being where you have been given all the ability to look deeper into all things that's blocking your creative flow. And right now, at this very moment, you are doing it. You are just opening the door, and you can feel you can hear the sound when you open the door. There's a beautiful door that's awaiting for you all to open it. Your subconscious mind definitely knows what to pick from here. And in that can be a beautiful garden. And those flowers are the flower of wisdom, peace, calmness, creativity, flow, and there are different colors as well. Red, orange, yellow, blue, and fascinating white and black too. Whatever you like to pick, and your mind knows that what it represents to you. Whatever you want to pick, you have opened the door and you are free to pick. That is yours. And whatever comes to your mind, you will remember that even after coming out of that state. You will be very sure that what you have to pick, because your mind knows, your subconscious mind is helping you. And I'll just stay quiet for few moments where you are picking whatever you want and what it represents to you. Whenever you are ready, the good news is that this is your garden. You can come here. The moment you reach this state, you are able to unlock this place. And it is just your second nature. You can reach here just by taking 3 deep breaths. 4, inhale, 7, hold, and 8, exhale. You know this, your subconscious mind is registering this. With 3 deep breaths, you'll be able to come here whenever you want to. And before leaving, make sure you close that door behind you. And in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. At the count of 1, you are saying bye and you're closing the door and stepping on the step. 1. All those things that should be integrated with your conscious and subconscious mind. Your conscious and subconscious mind is doing that right now. It will take as much as it needed the time to integrate. 2, you're feeling that you have just gained that awareness, or I will call it your superpower, where those beautiful flowers represented what it's needed to be done and how you can integrate that. 3, time that you are feeling the sensation to the present, where you are sitting right now, you can feel the weight of your body and feel that sensation coming back to your toes and in your fingers. 4, you're feeling that you have just visited the most beautiful place and most empowering place, which is within your reach anytime you want. And 5, whenever you are ready, open your eyes and come back to present.
Thank you so much for that session. Now, right, go ahead, go ahead.
Take a deep breath. Perfect. You can just feel that relaxation and you can go. Take your time to come back. Are you good, Nuri? Okay. Now, okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you were saying something, Alicia. I'm so sorry.
No worries at all. I just wanted to say that for those who would like to connect with you, I know you have your Instagram presence, you've got your obviously your Facebook and your website, which basically gives a lot more about, you know, what you offer and the services and so forth.
Yeah. So I'm very active on Instagram for sure. And my website is, can I write it in the chat?
Sure, and you can even verbalize it.
Okay, it's www.positiveenlightenment.ca. And that's my website, but you will find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And I am active, very active in my work, and especially you will find a lot of about me on my Instagram too, that about my presence and my nature and who am I actually. And I wanted to explain the reason why I wanted to Nuri to come back fully, because again, hypnosis is something that we make sure, that I brought you back safely and you are in the state where you are. And initially, I can feel that first she was little later into that state, and then when she opened her eyes, she could not, you know. So just to make sure that now you can proceed, with your daily thing, whatever you are doing, but just relax if you don't feel like getting up, because you have reached really a deep level, which is amazing.
Thank you for taking me there.
Oh, it was you, actually. You were ready. And I saw Lisa also, especially when we are going into that deeper state, we need to have that swallowing feeling that we have to swallow. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure that you all picked up what you wanted, especially when you reach that beautiful your creative garden.
I had a question that just popped to my mind, and people like just within these few moments where you did this guided sort of meditation, um, and to be able to just even go into sleep mode. What would you say about people who can actually, like within minutes or a very short time, i.e. watching something, a show, movie, whatever, something on the screen, reading a book, sitting in a car, i.e. me, like I can go to sleep like within minutes. What is that? Because
So,
it happens right now with you too.
okay. So, basically there's difference. Yeah. So difference between sleeping and reaching this deep level, because here she was listening everything that was happening and she was responding, she was trying, but because she was so relaxed, she was unable to come up. But it takes time, right? When we talk about sleep, we are not aware what is happening, right? We are sleeping. And usually this happen when we have lack of sleep. We can just go into that, you know, and no matter where we are. So there are different things that in this state you are aware. At the same time, it's the same like a meditation where you are aware. You're not sleeping. So look how much you are sleeping. There must be something. So it used to happen with my husband, and I feel that he wakes because the waking up time is so, he just wakes up at his time. But when initially used to happen that he used to sleep on the wheel, and which was extremely dangerous. And I remember it happened in Saudi Arabia, and I had to take the wheel, and there I'm not allowed to drive at that point. We just had this, these mirror rolled up, but I did it because there was no option. But here I see that it's different because maybe he's more relaxed here, you know, and more security is here as compared to Saudi, in a sense that, the work and the environment, and so, and then acceptance, of course, in a different way. So this is how I feel that now he's okay. And of course, we do know the limitations that we don't have to drive late. So yeah, I mean, just look into that the sleeping things, the hours, the quality sleep that you are going into that state. So the RAM state of sleep is very important. That is the place where we are healing our body. And this can only happen when you are going into that cycle, and then it happens when you are not taking your phone to the bed. So leave your phone 2 hours before, read some book or anything that will be very, very, it's a relaxing thing with, or writing, journal, poetry. That is again a very good thing before sleeping, that you are coming to that state with this 3 deep breaths, writing, and then sleeping with that, and your mind is working what you have written.
Perfect. Obviously, these conversations can go on, and I'm sure many have more and more questions, but everyone can connect with you on your social media accounts, and we'd love to have you later on once again and reoccurring all the time. Thank you so much for all the guidance you've shared and your light, your love, and everything.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful meeting all those lovely souls, and it brightened my day. So I have to start all these things with this beautiful smile and lovely faces. So I'm grateful. Thank you. And yes, would love to have, again something. And yeah, whoever wanted to connect with me, feel free to just shoot me a message. My Instagram is same like Positive Enlightenment, and you will find me, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I want to say for sharing your gift and your insights, and I think the exercise, if that's what you would like to call it, that we did, definitely, I think there is there's a difference in penning from just an everyday state of mind, and I felt like it would have been very, and I would maybe like to suggest that we we here on the Telegram group can just try to, or not try because it happens pretty spontaneously, but write whatever comes from that, because I would for myself at least, I'm wanting to go back there and see what comes out from that state. So maybe since we are trying to keep the the sessions from not flowing out way too much, we have a tendency to get very inspired and sit for a long time, but people's time is precious. So maybe that's my suggestion, if you feel like it, writing. And of course, Amina, also for you, if you want to share something that comes up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was I did not know that I have to do this. Okay, so whatever flowed. So for me, speaking is something that I had to just sit down and connect and what words are flowing. So it was just flowing, and I did not know what I'm going to do next, you know. So whatever was everybody's conscious feeling at that moment, and what we were talking, it was just flowed without, and I feel that it was just in a flow, whatever comes up. I wanted to end this with something that you will take with you guys. I can just be, relaxing you and just that's it. But it's also a very intuitive, like Alicia said, that okay, I have to stay, I have to just take it. And then when I give you the gap where your subconscious mind is integrating all those things that is needed to be integrated at the moment.
So that's a beautiful way to end, I think, this session, to leave us with something like that. So thank you once more.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. And Alicia, if you like this, having this conversation, can you leave me a review so people, take advantage of that?
For sure. Where could I leave it? And where could we leave this
I will
review on
send
your?
you I'll send you the Google link so you
Okay,
can write it there.
I would
I
love
still
that.
have your one review on my website, long time back. Yeah,
Anyways,
so we do have last time also something, but it's way before, I think in Saudi
yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly. We had that collab situation. Who knows? Maybe when I come to Canada, that's gonna resurface.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's still there in my inbox, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's still
yeah.
in my place. So definitely, and these programs are very much in demand. I would say that people are seeking these step-by-step things. So the guidance is there, and at the same time, they are coming up with their higher self and connecting to that place. So and then the vibration of the earth has changed, and we are moving into that level that people are more aware and conscious that we have seen some years ago.
Right. Wonderful. And I know we can keep going on, but we'll for now cut it. And we look forward for more discussions with you. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Amina.
thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Amina and everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome.